Yeah.
Go get your stress ball downstairs.
Good morning, everybody. As soon as we finish up in the back, we'll get started. Thank you all for being here. I was coming in this morning, somebody gave me a stress ball, said if we need it, if it doesn't work, we can throw it at you. I got 2 of them up here. So anyway, we'll get started with that. But thank you all for being here. We're going to ask Lady Taylor if she would open us up with a word of prayer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Please bow your head. Good morning, Father. Thank you for the day you've given us, the sunshine you put in our life. We ask you to bless us and those that are in need in the state of Georgia as we deliberate and find the good answers to the needs of our people. We ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, we'll call our meeting to order and go ahead and get started. We've got some friends over here. Senator, come on up and tell us what you got.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got Senate Bill 480. It is second from the bottom on the second page. It's LC 339611. Basically, this is a bill to try to increase the number of mental health workers in underserved areas in our state. For underserved youth, for unserved geographical areas, and also communities in our state that are disproportionately impacted by social determinants of health. This is would be run by the Georgia Healthcare Workforce Board under the Community of Health. It would provide the incentive for mental health care workers serving in these areas would be the state providing student debt repayment for their student debt. The rules and regulations regarding application acceptance and conditions would be set by the Georgia Healthcare Workforce Board. The payments would be in 5 annual installments against their student debt, conditioned upon them continuing to serve in the capacity that the board wants them to. And this would be subject to appropriations, Mr. Chairman. That's it. I would be glad to answer any questions.
Yes, sir. We have a question for you. Is that Representative Williams? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Senator, for the bill. Sounds real good. My only question is,
yes, sir.
Is there any incentive, extra incentive, for those that will be going to, that would go to rural communities?
Again, the rules and regulations will be promulgated by the board, but the intention of the bill, sir, is to put mental health care workers, mental health professionals in rural areas, in all areas that are underserved right now.
Thank you.
Okay. Chair Lady Cooper has a question.
And also, in answer to my colleague's question, the board chair assured me that what was in our bill on the House side, which included incentives for taking more Medicaid patients, would be included by rules, which then would help us in heavily rural areas that rely so much on Medicaid. Correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you for the question.
No other questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
appreciate it.
Senator, come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. The bill I'm bringing this morning is Senate Bill 169. That's the first bill listed on the first page under the modified structure rule. Senate Bill 169 is, I was a state juvenile probation officer for 30 years, and too many times and I could count, but not that many times, but too many times that I can count, or too many times it should happen. There's kids left in limbo once they're suspended out of school for behavioral problems or tribunals, and they're just out there in limbo for literally for weeks on end at sometimes. And so this is what this bill, the purpose of this bill is just to tighten this up, make sure, and it amends current law to require timely school disciplinary hearings for students within 15 days unless a parent will request an extension, and requires schools to provide instructional materials to students while they're waiting for disciplinary process to end. And that's pretty much the gist of the bill, Mr. Chairman, if I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Senator, thank you, sir. Don't see any questions.
All right,
Thank you. Senator, come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm here today to bring Senate Bill 515, which would establish a 2-year pilot program to provide additional ambulances in Region 2 and Region 8 of the state, which is Northeast and Southwest Georgia. This bill is a product of a study committee that we had in the off-season dealing with rural medical professionals, retaining and recruiting them. And one of the themes that we continue to hear in all of our meetings was that the response time that EMS has to certain emergencies is longer than they want it to be. And so what this tries to do is when, for example, if you're in Northeast Georgia and Hiawassee, for example, and you have to take someone to Atlanta in an ambulance, your ambulance is offline for 6 hours. What this will do would be to have an ambulance ready in a central location in that region that could come in and fill in for that ambulance, kind of be on call until the original ambulance returns. It also works to help the situation with wall times in the hospital, where an EMS or ambulance worker brings someone to the hospital and they're waiting on the wall to admit them into the ER. The feedback that we got was the reason they can't admit them into the ER is because the ER is full. The ER is full because they can't admit the patient into the regular hospital because the regular hospital is full. And the reason that's full is because they need an EMS to transfer people from one facility to another, but the EMS are on the wall in the ER. And so this would also allow for the ambulance to do facility to facility transfers. It was a creative solution that hopefully will help, and it's a 2-year pilot program, and if it's successful, I'd like to see it expand more in the years to come.
Chairman Hatchett, did you have a question for Senator Hatchett? I guess not. Okay.
Of course, I'll ask a question. So what happens at the end of the pilot?
Well, hopefully it'll, depending upon appropriations, if we can get some more money in the budget, we can establish.
I was hoping he was going to hit that.
Thank you, sir. Representative Hughley, is that you?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the bill. My question is, what type of interagency or inter-county agreements would have to be made in order to facilitate this?
So the Trauma Commission and the State EMS Office will be working together, and they will put out bids for contracts in each region, and an EMS company or local EMS that is already operating in the region would be the one that would take it over. So I don't necessarily think there would have to be any type of like intergovernmental agreement, but it would be run by the Trauma Commission and Georgia EMS Office.
One other question. Chairman Hawkins?
Isn't this bill supported by the EMS, State EMS Association?
It is.
It is. Thought so. Thank you. It's a good bill.
Thank you.
No other questions.
Thank you very much.
Senator Hickman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. 2 bills I'm going to present. One of them is on the blue sheet. The second bill just came out of Chairman Martin's higher ed yesterday. The first bill is Senate Bill 384, and we've talked about that, and it's called Making Georgia as a Model Employer State to Hire People with Disabilities, Mental and Physical Disabilities. We have over 150,000 people in Georgia that have some type of mental or physical disability, but cannot get jobs. We've only got about 30,000 of them employed. So we got a huge opportunity here with our shortage of workforce to bring these people in. But we all know in order to get this done, we need to start at the top. And this bill applies making the state of Georgia, and if it's successful, then we'll move it down to the city and county level. So it's a very, very good bill. This is a workforce development bill. Second bill came out of, as I Senate Bill 497, which is not on your blue sheet.
Wait just a second.
Came out of Chairman Martin's committee yesterday.
Billy, hold up just a second. Any questions?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any questions on 384? Okay, now go ahead and give us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I got a little carried away. I'm so respectful of everybody's time. second bill is Senate Bill 497, and that is to expand the apprenticeship program that is administered by TCSG. We currently have an apprenticeship program which allows an employer to hire 5 apprentices during the year, and then they are reimbursed for training costs on those apprentices up to $10,000. That's going to be modified in this bill to make it 10 apprenticeships, and we're dropping the money from $10,000 on the recommendation of TCSG to $5,000. So the dollar numbers are not changed, the dollars in the budget. Another great thing about this bill, though, this bill will also be allowed city and local governments to participate in this apprenticeship bill program. So the same benefit that the private sector has had over the years for this bill, the public sector will now have at the same payment level.
Okay. Don't see any questions.
Thank you, sir.
Senator. Yes,
Thank you for your favorable
Excuse me,
consideration.
I'm sorry, we do have a question. Chairman Cooper, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to go back to Senate Bill 368. I mean, statistics show that our disabled community, when they're workers, they're some of the most loyal, they're on time, they show up when other people don't. I'm sorry that I did not have a chance to read this bill. What is happening about the pay? Are we incentive for them to be paid a minimum wage?
Are we talking about 497 or are we talking about 384?
384, sorry.
384. This will actually be monitored by the American Disability Act coordinator for the state.
Okay.
And they'll be responsible for making each agency adhere to certain guidelines as far as percentages and reports back. They'll have to report each year, report back about what they're doing to incentivize people to come to work for, and then more importantly, what they're doing to make sure they get increases in pay if they need to be.
Okay, because one of the things we need to do is make sure we are moving them to where they are paid adequately like other Georgians are for the work that they do, which
Yes,
would
ma'am.
move them toward minimum wage.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
We've actually, in our firm, several years ago, we had a lady that was an accountant and did a great job for her, but she was in a wheelchair, and we had to modify the desk to support her and all, but she was a great accountant. So
Well-
we need to be more open-minded about this, particularly with our workforce shortage.
Well, I have a bill in the Senate, and hopefully it's going to get out, because we have a few companies left that are working under a special that allows them to pay as low as 22 cents an hour to people. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Got a couple other questions. Whip Park has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Hickman, is it not true that I appreciate your Senate Bill 497, which I heard in committee yesterday? However, because it's not on the general calendar or the rules consideration calendar, I did have a procedural question in whether or not that could be heard or voted on the House floor if it was the will of the committee.
On which bill are you talking about?
Senate Bill 497?
No, we're just hearing that today. They won't have to come back and ask for it again.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Leader Beverly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And the question I have, and to the lady's question earlier, here I am over here, Senator, is the pay levels, I think on line 75 within your bill and 384, there's an emphasis that qualified individuals filling these roles should be paid no less than a minimum wage. And I think by line 35, 75 and 76, is there an extension to everyone in the state should not be paid lower than a minimum wage? Is that bill considered that as well?
I would like to think that our state has enough of moral turpitude to make sure that we are paying people when they're capable of doing a job, the right pay for the job. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Senator, don't see any more questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Yes, Senator Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, I bring to you Senate Bill 494. It's on page 3 at the top. This is dealing with the hemp industry in our state. It's just creating licensing and a registry of who's handling hemp in our state, who's selling hemp in our state, and it's a department bill as well. Be glad to take any questions.
Okay. Don't see any questions.
All right.
Thank
Thank you,
sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Yeah. Senator Strickland.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I have two bills for you. They're both on their modified structured rule on page 2, fourth and third from the bottom. Fourth from the bottom, Senate Bill 455. This comes at the request of DCH. It has two things. One is Department bill that puts us in compliance with federal law when it comes to the responsibility of third-party payers paying for services that are authorized through Medicaid. And the second thing it does, it became a vehicle on y'all's side for another good bill that helps out your small independent pharmacists that the chairman put on there as well.
Okay, don't see any questions. What's your next one?
And the next one below that, Senate Bill 456. This also comes with the support of DCH, and this adds those that are caring for disabled people to the ability to use our caregiver registry. Right now, under law, those that are caring for elderly people in our state can use the state caregiver registry through DCH to run background checks on those caring for their family members. And this adds those that are also taking care of disabled people to take advantage of the same registry.
Okay, thank you, sir. No questions.
Thank you.
Senator, what you got?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House members presenting SB 395. It's on the second page. It's fifth from the top. It's Wesley's Law. It's named after my wife's cousin, Wesley Gay, who passed away after he took a substance that was laced with fentanyl. And simply what the bill does is it makes Narcan or naloxone more readily available in schools. Currently, only the school nurse can possess and administer naloxone or Narcan. This bill would allow teachers, administrators, or visitors of the school to possess it and to also administer it. There's no training needed for administering naloxone or Narcan. There's no known side effects from it. And when someone's experiencing an overdose, minutes count. It only takes 3 to 5 minutes for someone to lose their life once they begin to have an overdose. This bill also has got immunity for teachers and for school systems, or for anyone that administers it or decides not to, from any civil liability as well. Mr. Chairman, be happy to answer any questions.
Do have a question. Representative Hughley?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to the gentleman for the bill. It's very important that we have this. Does it include middle schools or all schools, or is it just for high schools?
No, it's for all schools.
For all schools. Thank you.
Okay, no other questions. Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Tillery.
Hey, Mr. Chairman. Senate Bill 505 on the last page. It basically says if you don't do what we already told you to do, you lose your money. We had some pieces that deal with hospital transparency that we passed 3 or 4 sessions ago. So you have to post certain things about what you do. Some folks have done that. Some maybe think they've done that, but maybe haven't. So we tried to provide some clarity, have DCH build a form that says, no, this is the stuff you're supposed to disclose. And if you don't post that on your website, you would lose your state funding.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Don't see any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any members of the committee have anything we need to hear from you on? Okay. Well, we've got a little housekeeping we need to do here first. Got a couple of bills we want to recommit. Senate Bill 110. Senate Bill 110, we're going to recommit that back to motor vehicles. Do I hear a move? Move. Have a move in several seconds. Is there any opposition? Okay, it's back to motor vehicles. Senate Bill 203, recommit that to Defense and Veterans Affairs. Do I hear a motion and a second? Any opposition? It's back to Defense and Veterans Affairs. Senate Bill 505, back to Health. Have a move, second. Any opposition? It's back in Health, okay? Now, what we want to do this morning is set a rules calendar for Wednesday, today, day 34, under modified structure. Senate Bill 171. Is there a move? Move in several seconds. Is there any opposition? It's on. Senate Bill 205. Move. Move and seconded. Any opposition? It's on. Senate Bill 232. Move. Have a move and seconds. Any opposition? It's on. Senate Bill 342. Move. Have a move and seconded. Any opposition? It's on. Senate Bill 430.
Move.
Moved and seconded. Any opposition? It's on. Senate Bill 483.
Move.
Moved and seconded. Any opposition? It's on. Okay. Let me read these back to you just so we make sure we've got them all. Senate Bill 171, Senate Bill 205, Senate Bill 232, Senate Bill 342, Senate Bill 430, Senate Bill 483. And I recognize the Vice Chair for a motion at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pursuant to Rule 33.3, I move that debate on all matters on this rules calendar be limited to 1 hour, time to be divided at the discretion of the chair.
Okay, you've heard the motion. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All opposed, no? No. The ayes have it. Okay.
You gained one.
He was confused. Okay. All right, that's our calendar for Wednesday. Now we want to set a rules calendar for Thursday, March 14th. That's day 35. Under modified structure, Senate Bill 387.
Move.
Have a move and seconded. Any opposition? 387's on. Senate Bill 448.
Move.
Moved and seconded. Any opposition? It's on. Senate Bill 450.
Move.
Moved and seconded. Any opposition? It's on. Senate Bill 387.
Move.
Nope. I'm just going to give you the list again.
Okay.
We use our ball here. We're getting stressed. Getting stressed out. Sorry, I could throw you off there. These are the three that we put on for Thursday. Okay, just so we know. Senate Bill 387, Senate Bill 448, Senate Bill 450. Now, I recognize the Vice Chair for a motion.
Pursuant to Rule 33.3, I move that debate be limited to 1 hour, time to be divided at the discretion of the chair.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there any opposition? Okay, we have an objection. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. All those opposed? It's limited. Okay, just to help you with your planning, we will have a meeting in the morning, Thursday morning at 9 o'clock. Okay?